Talking to Jason Dumas of Cron 4 News, sports director, Cron 4. But he's a Philly guy, and he's broken some stories, not just on the basketball side of things, also for the Eagles, Saquon Barkley, and with the 76ers. So wanted to get your take on all things Sixers basketball. Jason, let's start here with Joel Embiid. Any update on the timeline and what the Sixers are hoping for to close the season?
Well, they've been very vague on his injury, the specific details of the injury, his timeline to return. But that's the Sixers' MO, especially when it comes to Joel Embiid. Whenever he gets hurt, they're not very transparent. I don't know if that's intentional or if it's the wishes of Joel Embiid. Just transparency has never been the Sixers thing when it comes to injuries with that guy and keeping people in the know. But with that being said, everything I've been told is that his goal is to return before the end of the regular season. There's only about 3 weeks left. So probably in about 2 weeks, get back on the court and, try to catch a rhythm before the end of the regular season and then go into that, whether they're in the play-in or that last 6th seed or 5th seed, have some momentum going into that series.
Jason, Kings fans are always interested in former Kings, and the Sixers have since the trade deadline acquired old friend Buddy Hield, who's now played 21 games for the Sixers. How has he done with Philadelphia so far? I know it kind of makes a lot more sense to have Buddy on the team with Joel out there, and I don't believe he's had a game to play with Joel. But how has the Buddy Hield experience gone for the Sixers so far this season?
Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, he's someone who is going to be impacted for the better when Joel Embiid comes back, probably more than anyone on that roster. They need floor spacers, and obviously Joel draws so much attention. He gets people so many open looks. I mean, he was probably the MVP frontrunner before he got hurt. He was playing so well. So Buddy, he's been okay. He hasn't been great, if we're being honest. But like I said, I think when Joel comes back, even if it's next season, he's probably going to come back this season, but who knows if he's ever going to get back to the playing form that he was at before the injury. But even if it's for next season, I think it'll be a good fit for Buddy. But right now, he's definitely still feeling his way, and he hasn't been great. There's no other way to say it.
Talking to Jason Dumas, sports director for Cron 4 News out there in the Bay Area. Philly native, knows his Philly sports, of course. Jason, what about Malik Monk and the interest level? He's going to be a free agent, and Kings fans are a bit worried. Just played the Orlando Magic, who is a name that the Kings are looking out for as far as interest with Malik Monk. Do you think the Sixers pairing him up with Tyrese Maxey, do you think that's something that Kings fans should be on the lookout for? Any interest there?
You know what? Malik Monk is one of those guys who you can really drop him anywhere and he's going to do his thing because, he doesn't need plays run for him specifically. And at the worst, he's just a volume bench scorer, 6-man right off the bench. Every team could use that. So honestly, I think the Warriors, I think the Kings should be worried about any team really, any team that has some cap space, and the Sixers are going to have a whole lot of cap space with Tobias Harris coming off the books. Definitely think, the Sixers could be a team that gives him a look. But like I said, there's going to be a lot of teams willing to pay him a lot of money. So Sacramento should open that checkbook if they want to keep him. But somebody's going to probably, if we're just being honest, someone's probably going to overpay him.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, Philly's definitely one of the teams that is scary because they have, real playoff contenders, or at least are going to try and be real playoff contenders moving forward. And a big part of that with the Malik fit is going to be Tyrese Maxey and him playing next to Maxey. And, a big talking point from last year with the Sixers was, his fit next to James Harden. And, should Maxey really step up as this number 2 option, and how hard it was with Harden out there. What really feels like the future for Tyrese Maxey in Philly? Is he kind of the guy who is going to be maybe the next one up for them? Is he, because Joel's injury history obviously shows that he might not be a guy to be relied on. Is there hope that Tyrese Maxey could maybe step up and potentially be a number 1 scoring option for this team moving forward?
Yeah, well, they love Tyrese, both the front office and the fan base. But I think the way Daryl Morey operates, he definitely wants another big name. Like the whole Paul George rumors, if he doesn't stay, that Philly will go hard after him. Those are true, and that's Daryl Morey's MO. So to answer your question, one, yes, I think they love Tyrese Maxey and they have the utmost confidence in him. But I also think the way Daryl Morey operates, he wants like 3 superstars on one roster. So obviously you got Embiid, who's a bona fide superstar. You got Max, who is coming into his own. I don't know if I consider him a superstar, but I mean he's averaging almost 26 points per game. That's really good.
Yeah.
And then like, maybe somebody like a Paul George. I know they're going to be aggressive. They're going to try to bring in another big name. They really, really want to build this team up into a championship contender, and they've been right there the last couple years. I mean, they absolutely choked away that series against Boston. They should have won it. But that's the thing. And I said this to someone the other day. I think this could be a year where the Sixers sneak up on people, because if Joel Embiid comes back and he even gets to like 75% of Joel Embiid, let's just say they're like the 6 or the 7 seed when all the dust settles, they're not going to have much pressure on them. They'll probably play looser. Like, hey, we're like the 6th seed. Our best player was hurt all year. Like, we're playing with house money at this point. I think that might allow them to play better, because the last couple years, I just think the moment has been too big for them. They have shrunk in those huge moments. They've been favored to win some of these series, and I think that kind of got to them. I think playing in a situation where no one expects them to win and kind of just happy to be there and see Joel on the court healthy again, I actually think that could help them out.
Talking to Jason Dumas, Cron 4 News sports director. Jason, before we get you out of here, you also do local radio out there in the Bay Area, talking Warriors. Man, last night or yesterday, there was a lot of drama with Steph's minutes and Steve Kerr saying, oh, well, I don't think that's why we lost. And Draymond saying he's not worried about the Rockets. Well, you should be. What is going on out there in the Bay with the Warriors? Do you think they're cooked? And where do they go from here?
Man, they're exactly what their record is. They're just a mediocre team. Some nights they're going to look good, and some nights it might give you some faith that, hey, maybe they can put a stretch together where they play really good basketball and win a couple playoff series, and then they'll have a stretch like they're in right now, really, where it's like, okay, they're just simply not better than the Timberwolves. They're simply not better than the Pacers. They're simply not better than the Knicks. Like, it's a boring answer, but it is what it is. They're just a mediocre team. Mm-hmm. And I said this last night on Cron to one of my co-hosts. I think missing out on the play-in completely and letting the Rockets catch them might be better for them in the long-term picture, because I think it might actually force Joe Lacob to make some really tough decisions because of the embarrassment of having this expensive team paying so much luxury tax and not even making the play-in round. I think that would probably force Joe Lacob to be impulsive this summer, because, I mean, that's really not acceptable when you're paying this tab. But, guys, it's also what you kind of see at the end of all these dynasties. They have so many expensive players because these guys have expensive resumes. Like, I mean, Klay Thompson's making so much money because he helped them win 4 championships. Same with Draymond Green. Steph Curry, I mean, he's still playing at a level that is acceptable to be paid what he is. But like Klay Thompson, he's not. We know that, and he's going to be a free agent. And what are you going to do with him? Draymond Green, he's still a pretty effective player, especially defensively, but like making a lot of money, and now he's having these back issues again. Kevon Looney's making a nice little piece of change. Even guys like GP2 and Wiggins, who's not playing up to his standards. So it's like, you just got to figure out what you want to do. Do you want to keep paying these guys all this money that probably won't be performing up to those standards? If you do, you're probably going to be a team that muddles around 500 all year and, you know, might get a favorable matchup in the first round and make some noise and like kind of remind you of the glory years. But then, you know, they'll probably round back out to the mean of what they are, just an average team, and lose to a good team in the second round. It's exactly what happened last year. They got a favorable matchup against the Kings team that hasn't experienced that in a long time. And at the end of the day, the vets kind of just really, Steph Curry was like, you know what? We're not going out to the Kings. And then they matched up with the Lakers, who were just better than them, you know, point blank period. So that's what the Warriors are right now. They're an average team that can get hot and maybe win a round or two, but they're not good enough to play consistently enough to win a championship. And that's really the standard around here. So if you're not doing that, you got to figure out something, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think the Warriors should just come up off of Jonathan Kuminga, send him out here to Sacramento, and really just make some sense of the whole thing. Jason Dumas, Cron 4 News sports director. Also, you can catch him with the Santa Cruz Warriors sideline reporting at 95.7 The Game as well. Jason, thank you as always. We will talk to you soon.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
You know, the main thing, Chris, as we discuss the future of all these teams, that Malik Monk piece, I forgot about Tobias Harris coming off the books and how ridiculous.
Yeah. His contract's ridiculous.
I mean, it's insane.
It's insane.
So if you're and if you're just now joining us, just talk to Jason Dumas, Cron 4 News. He's also just a do-it-all reporter. You've seen him break stories for the Sixers and the Warriors. And bringing up Paul George, so you go get Paul George. Now, if that's a team with Joel Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and you can still cash out Malik Monk, I'll be a sixth man on that team.
I'm not sure if they could at that point. I don't think they'll have that much money to sign both of them, but I mean, yeah, that's what Daryl's going to do. I mean, he's going to try his everything to make it happen. It's a really scary situation. I mean, yeah, the Sixers, who it's not hard to try and convince somebody, hey, come to this big market in Philadelphia. You got a big man who's MVP ready. You've got this young guard. It's all set up there. So it's going to be a tough thing to try and battle against, but it's why in Anthony Slater's article, I think that's why the last part in there is, depending on how well the Kings do, I mean, you know, I might not need to look, but if you know, the Kings are getting eliminated in the play-in or in the first round, and some of my other options are a young Orlando team that maybe makes the second round, or a Philadelphia team, as Dumas lays out there, like maybe Joel comes back, maybe they surprise a team, maybe they get to the second round, maybe they get to the conference finals, then it becomes that negotiation period becomes a lot tougher when you say, hey, Malik, come off the bench for us, make less money, and you're not going to be in a big market where, you know, you could be in Florida, you can have a starting job, you can be on a top 4 team, or you can go to Philadelphia, you can be in a big market with some big stars, and you can maybe try and win a championship. That's tough to try and negotiate against. But that's what the Kings are facing right now. That's what it is, and that's why, bringing it back to tonight's game, this stretch is so very important for the Kings. Don't have zero tonight, Malik, please. Don't have zero tonight. You already showed everybody what you can maybe do. So let's go back to old Malik. Definitely going to need something from Malik Monk. Also going to need Keegan Murray to stay hot. We will discuss Keegan's comeback game as he was near perfect from the 3-point line. That and more when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.